in the dairy barn, this is where the animals would come, and you see with these metal and wood devices are called stanchions. And the cows would come in from pasture when it was time to milk, and they were kind of a creature of habit. They would know where their stall was, and they would go to their same stall almost every time. But back in the early days, you had to milk the cows were milked by hand. And it took approximately 10 minutes a cow in order to milk it. And so the Rentschlers had, roughly an average maybe 20 milk cows or so here. And finally, they got rural electrification in the back about 1925 or so. They were able to get electric milkers, which is this device down here, which cut their milking time in half. And so that made a whole lot of difference, a whole lot of less work. And so with that too, of course, they would feed them where their head is. They would give them feed, and while they were feeding and eating is when they would sit down and milk. And then, of course, they would be turned out to pasture again, and they would have to clean all the stalls and prepare them for the next milking, which went on twice a day, 365 days a year. There was really no time off when you were in the milk business. Then after they got the milk, it was brought into this, which is called the milk house. And in the milk house, they would have to cool the milk, and it would be held in cans in cold storage. And sometimes they would separate, there's cream separators, they would separate the cream, and there was a dairy down at the other end of town, and they would sell them the cream, and they would make cheese, cottage cheese, and ice cream out of them. And then the skim milk, which we drink today, but in those days, they would take that and they would feed it to the young calves, or the pigs would get some of that feeder. And so it was important, the milk had to be cooled, was put in these cans, and then every day there would be somebody that came, picked up the milk in the cans and took them, and there was a station uptown near where the Union School is that took the milk. It was run by Seal Test, and then they would move and take the milk into Detroit from there. So this whole operation it was necessary to keep all the milkers and all the equipment clean, and that's what this particular area was for.